What up nerds, it's Nerdstorm here. I want to compare and contrast both of Shadow's spin-off games, not Shadow Generations is now a year old. How Shadow Generations surpassed all expectations last year versus how Shadow the Hedgehog the game failed. Let's start off with the negatives. Shadow the Hedgehog 2005 failed because it has absolutely no direction, love it or hate it. The third-person shooter direction was definitely a product of its time, seeing as there was a huge wave of third-person action games from the mid to late 2000s going on at this very time. But Shadow had enough abilities in his first two appearances in Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Heroes to the point where weaponry and vehicles feel forced in this context, like Sega was just trying to fit in with everybody else. Sonic Heroes is alright, but you know what was missing? War crimes. To keep it a stat, excluding the ironic hilarity of Shadow cussing every 30 seconds and using realistic weaponry, the game's trash. It's fun, but it's garbage. Exhibit 2, this isn't just conceptually directionless, but structurally so. Shadow has 22 stages, but instead of having a story system like the adventure games or Heroes, it has a choose your own adventure type scenario going on here, and it has pretty bad results. Playing the 10 required routes is pretty pointless anyways because there's a final story at the end, and you gotta play the first level Westopolis every single time you do a run, so it gets pretty repetitive fast. Heroes is already bad enough with this repetition, but Shadow went up there with having you replay the same levels verbatim with forced ass objectives that no one liked for Team Chaotix and Heroes, but that's all you do in this game. Kill a certain amount of enemies, hit a bunch of switches, defuse some bombs, or extinguish all those goddamn artificial chaoses. Repeat for 6 levels each run times 10. The gunplay is alright I guess, but it's no Resident Evil 4. And the quality is all over the place with the guns too. The chain guns and laser weapons are pretty cool, but the pistols and rocket launchers suck ass. And the vehicles are pretty pointless in this game too, since you can just fly through most of the levels. It's a pretty below average shooter no matter how you look at it. Since it's an E10 plus game, there's no blood for the humans, and the weapon mechanics are pretty shallow, so shooter fans are not gonna like this. And it controls like a worse version of Sonic Heroes, so Sonic fans aren't gonna like it either. You are all things Shadow the Hedgehog, yet you are nothing. You are neither a well-defined shooter or well-defined platformer, and you forever stand alone because of it. If I wanted to play a 6th gen third-person shooter from November of 2005 that has a grand variety of weapons to choose from, is spread across different locales, and involves a sentient race of beings that will become the downfall of humanity, I'd just play Star Wars Battlefront 2 instead. And that brings us to Exhibit 3, the tone and story of this game. This aspect turns Shadow the Hedgehog from a below-average shooter to a below-average shooter that I can't stop smiling at. It tries to be serious in tone, but the writing and voice acting does not give off that vibe at all, and the whole thing just becomes laughable. I mean, it's a 3-foot-tall hedgehog telling an obese doctor to go meet Genghis Khan. I love it. The whole story direction just doesn't feel right. It's like if Xbox put Halo on PlayStation. Oh, wait. But in an unironic viewpoint, it's quite jarring for Shadow to go from a reliable but badass ally in SA2 and Sonic Heroes to an emo caricature of himself that tries to be cool in every scene but fails miserably. Shadow's characterization took a major hit after Shadow the Hedgehog, even after Shiro Maekawa did major course correction in 06. Overall, Shadow the game has its moments, but it never finds its footing throughout the entire runtime. It tries too hard to be cool, but it never accomplishes this goal at all. And removing all ironic enjoyment and nostalgia from this, it's a below average game. That's just it. In other words, it's a definition of the hype moments in Aura meme. That's about it. It was the last of the character focused spin-offs in the entire series. Until now. Shadow Generations was announced in early 2024, and besides Black Doom from Shadow of 5 and the Bio-Lizard from Sonic Adventure 2 popping up, I paid it absolutely no mind. Maybe because most remasters around this time were pretty bad, Sonic included, but after each trailer, Shadow Gen showed more and more promise, more of a vision, more focused level design, more of a story to be had. And Sega even released a 3-part animated series hyping up the story in this game. I'm sure this will be some cute shit. Dark Begins is everything a Shadow story should be. The action, the character interactions, and of course, pain. There's far more budget in this 14-minute series than the entirety of Sonic Force's bitch ass put together. The full game dropped a week and a half later, and it was peak in every sense of the word. Exhibit 1 as to why Shadow Generation succeeded was Sonic's momentum at this point in time. Paramount had just dropped 2 successful Sonic movies with a third one on the way, while Sonic Frontiers saw similar success on the game side. Frontiers has issues, but it's seen as the first AAA feeling Sonic game in over a decade at that point. That translated to its writing as well, and even though the criticisms of Ian Flynn's writing styles are valid, he truly understands the fundamentals of the Sonic cast, and the voice direction was improved on top of that, and that same understanding was brought to Shadow and Team Dark as a whole. Shadow's cool, calm, and selfless demeanor is captured perfectly in this game. And after replaying this game recently, Kirk Thorne's making a great case for being my favorite Shadow voice actor. The Studiopolis cast have always been polarizing since their introduction in 2010 to the series. But with Dark Begins and this game, Kirk captures the chaotic, rebellious, and sympathetic nature of Shadow's character that hasn't been this balanced since 2006. He's a perfect juxtaposition to his 2005 counterpart. He's more firm on his beliefs. He sees Maria in the distance, he doesn't believe she's real, which is true. He'll shed a tear over such things, but he cherishes her memory and puts his best foot forward to save everyone, something the 2005 game could not achieve. Exhibit 2 as to why this game succeeded. The level design. Though I have some issues with the level choices they chose for this game, this does wonders in improving the trajectory of the level design in this series after the last 2 games prioritized straight hallways the entire way through. Levels are paced perfectly, between 3 to 6 minutes for most of them, and you have multiple paths and the Doom powers to spice things up every time. Though even for a side game, the asset reusage is completely ridiculous. Chaos Island is a playable level in this game, even though Shadow is not in Frontiers at all. And they really overused Radical Highway in this game. Even though the final level was really good, they just missed out on a chance to include a level from 05. Though I imagine it would be more work considering the levels in Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic 06 are way better made, so there's that. Though considering how well made the levels are in this game, it's not a big issue to me. In Exhibit 3 of Shadow Generation success, it does not outlive its welcome. My most recent playthrough of Shadow Generations was just over 3 hours, which seems short, but the Sonic series has history of paying out its games with extra gameplay styles, collectibles, or the entire structure of the game is arbitrary for the sake of being arbitrary. But Shadow Gens' story and gameplay are fulfilling enough without feeling overbearing. It's amazing in its own right and leaves a great blueprint for the future of the series. If the 35th anniversary Sonic game does exactly what Shadow Generations does, with more variety and less asset reusage while being 15 to 20 hours long, we might have the best Sonic game of the entire series on our hands with that. Overall, this is a tale of 2 different games and their legacies. One failed because it was more focused on dated ideas than being an actual quality experience, while the other succeeded because it knew exactly what it wanted to be and honed in on its strengths to the very end, making it a successful, fearless year of Shadow possible. I only hope we can get this treatment for more characters going into the 35th anniversary of the series. Well, shit.